Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Talking Horses. Maggie Wolfendale and Andy Serling. Early start here on a Saturday with the Withers and
Toboggan.
the Toboggan as well.
Yeah.
Big prep day, fierceness running down in Florida.
Holy Bull and Southwest, the rescheduled Southwest.
Correct.
As well. Yeah.
Feels like the Withers and Southwest. I mean, the Withers does have a pretty strong favorite. The Southwest, to me, is wide open.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the pace develops, if it melts down. A lot of people think that, and it does.
A lot of
horses
speed horses in
do
there.
go there. So, yeah, that'll be an interesting race to follow for. I look, these shoulders, why did I wear this? My shoulders look huge
I was going
next
to
to
wear
you.
that, actually, today. Do they look huge? I wouldn't have
They
noticed.
do. Look. Whoa.
Really? Well, I'm not going to make anything I say is only going to get me in trouble. Head over to Naira. This won't get me in trouble. Head over to Naira Bets. On that note, if you're not a member, no better time than present. Use the promo code MATCH200. NairaBets.com will match the $200 of your initial deposit. What do we have going on? Well, the middle pick 4, 2, 4, and 7 for pick 4s on today's 10-race card. Pick 5s in races 1 and 6. Of course, the pick 6 kicks off in race number 5. 2 winners, the Big 6 yesterday. $40 Derby prep bonus. Bet 20 each. Bet $20 each on select Derby preps. Get $10 for each race. So that is there one in California? Is Robert Lewis today in California as well?
Yeah.
So there must be the Robert Lewis. I think that Fierceness looks pretty good down in Florida. What do you think?
Yeah. I think we
$20
can
on
get
him.
by on that one.
Get $10. That's actually quite a deal. Instead
Yeah.
of getting $220, you get $320.
Seriously.
Yeah, I think the fierce question is how well does he run? Because his race was so big, and you almost feel like he's doomed to disappoint in an odd way.
Yeah, and let's not forget, I mean, the Champagne was a huge disappointment from him.
Right.
Who's
Now,
to say that doesn't rear its ugly head again?
well, I think one of the question with him that the Champagne asked is, what happens if he has a little trouble to start? He's not able to get into a good position going forward.
Exactly.
And that, I think, is a big question with him. But right now, obviously, based on his Breeders' Cup, he's about as strong a favorite right now at this point in the year for the Derby as you've seen in quite a while. His Breeders' Cup was so strong. What else do we have? We have question of Big 5, 8, 9, and then we got 9, 10, 11, all stakes, all stakes. The Tampa Bay, we got one at Tampa. What do you like in that race? You have an opinion? Did you look at that race? Probably not. You're not on the show anymore. I like the speed.
No,
that
I'm
speed
not
horse,
on it.
win from within?
Win from within. Yeah.
Yeah, first time on the turf for Bill Morey. Clean, put it on the dirt. I like that horse to wire the field. No, never explains okay, but he's got so little speed. I think he's compromised in that race, though he is a pretty good, talented horse. And then we're on from 12:30 until 6:30 today at FS2. Maggie, you'll be hosting early, and then you'll be in the paddock a little bit, and the rest of the crew. We got a team down at Oaklawn Park as well. Lafitte and the MiG are joining Paulie down there.
And Acacia at Tampa.
Acacia's at Tampa, that's right. Thank you for that. There's some stakes at Tampa as well.
Really got our hands on the
We
pulse.
are all over the place.
Yeah.
The good news for me is while I'm on, I'm barely on. I don't really have to come on at all. Greg and I will be up there.
I'm a little jealous.
Greg, bring a deck of cards because we'll have plenty of time. Anyway, race number 1, they scratched Brazilian Air, who was probably in over his head. And, it's a race full of horses that are the better horses, the 4, 5, and 6. And we'll show Just Call Ray, one of them, 2 races back when finishing second to aggregation. Good trip or not, ran pretty well in here. It's a question of who do you trust the most? Because all of these horses can win. You're trusting Candy Tycoon dropping down and not having run in 5 months.
I don't know if you can call it trusting
6 months,
him.
really, yeah.
I don't know if you can call it trusting him. Look, he's coming
Trust a little bit more than others. I don't know what. That's why I picked a horse with recency. But all the horses, every one of the 4, 5, and 6 is better than the horse I picked.
Yeah, but your
I don't
horse
trust
has
them.
a speed edge as well.
That's what I thought.
I toyed with putting him on top. I just couldn't do it and graduating from a non-3 for 14.
Trust me, I don't love Commerce Comet here, but he is the controlling speed, and my feeling was I don't know if I can trust any of these horses. And, Candy Tycoon, who ran fine last time, he was entered better and scratched, a couple of weeks ago? Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, I feel like you are right.
And I never guess right with David Jacobson.
No, and I've been okay. Like the one, yesterday? I couldn't have come up with Can't Beat the Rock.
No, I think I had him third. I would have, been like a C in my pick six. The stupidest move I made was when I put a horse of his on top last week, and I was my second and third choice ran 1-2 for a $275 exactor, 300 something dollars, some crazy price exactor. It was like I just felt so dumb. Like, why am I putting a short price Jacobson? If he runs his race, he's probably going to win.
Yeah,
but
he
how
had
do you
some
trust
trouble.
him?
No, you can't. That's the thing. But when he is at the racetrack, he's better. I mean,
Better
it's
these
not
horses.
like he has necessarily a bad race looking
Yeah,
at you
fair.
on that form. So yeah, you're banking on the fact, or I'm banking on the fact that he is going to come back with those good races. But he's shown that he can do so in the past, coming in off of a layoff. So that was enough for me. Look, Just Call Ray, yeah, 2 back, that's a complete outlier. He is more of that 78 type of horse that you see him running. But he's another one where I feel like he might get a little out sprinted here.
I agree. I think you want a horse like the 6, and I've got the 6 second. He figures to at least be a little closer in here. And I think that's something that bothers me about Lafitte's fleet in this race. I don't trust his form. Obviously, he's got races good enough. Rudy's Barn's going well. But, man, is he devoid of speed as Manny Franco makes his way back? I got a question for Manny. He brought the whole family down to Oaklawn? It's a long trip to make to bring the whole family.
They do offer the direct flights now on Delta.
Eric said he took he went straight from LaGuardia to...
So it's a lot easier, and LaGuardia is amazing. So, yeah.
It's the best airport, but the least convenient airport if you live in Manhattan like I do.
Oh, see,
especially on the west side because I got to cross all the way over.
Right, it's more convenient for me.
And the public
being on the North
transportation,
Shore.
public transportation is great for Newark. It's great for JFK. It's terrible for LaGuardia.
Oh yeah, public transportation is terrible
It's
for
a
LaGuardia.
disaster, and I'm a public transportation
driving.
guy. Race number 2. Race number 2. Well, let's see. I got Midnight Express. I got a replay for Midnight Express.
Let's see it.
You've probably never seen the movie Midnight Express.
No.
Do you know about it? It's the true story of the guy Brad Davis plays him. He gets caught smuggling. It's an early Oscar. I think Oliver Stone wrote the screenplay. I want to say he wrote the screenplay and won an Oscar for it.
What year did it come out, Andy? Is it
When I was
before
in high school,
I was born?
late 70s.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a great movie,
I digress.
though. He gets caught smuggling hash out of Turkey, and he goes to the jail in Turkey, and his family's trying to get him. It's a true story. It's a crazy movie. Everybody watching has seen Midnight Express. Believe me, it's not.
I'm sure they have.
I'm like you, Maggie. I did not want to take. Listen, Rudy's horses could run 1-2 in here.
Absolutely.
I don't think either of us would be surprised. I didn't want to take them either.
He's a 5-year-old Midnight Loot.
Hasn't run since March. Going to be the favorite. It's just like.
And now he's turning back. Who's to say he really wants to go this sprint distance of 6.5? Look, both of us are against Captain Party because it doesn't appear that he can really lift a hoof on the dirt.
People want Captain Party. They're welcome to him.
He is the drop down.
David's got him the favorite. Well, David's usually right. I can't stand him.
He's the lone drop down.
He was only running last time.
I know, and it's not like it was a really strong race that he comes out of either.
So English Storm, last race, the best race, that's for sure.
Yeah, I just thought he was on a kind of upward trajectory for Michelle Giangiulio, and
those were better horses.
Agreed.
The last field.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I just thought he was kind of wide, too, in that race. I don't mind the 6.5 for him, turning back a bit. And I just thought I was going to get the right price on him in amongst a bunch of horses that basically all look the same.
I can't argue with it. I went off the reservation with 2 horses.
Are you on 2?
I want Alpha
4.
Sunny, gets a rider switch in this race, has a figure 3 back that's fast enough to be at least competitive with these horses. Obviously, last time out was a disaster. I thought the rider switch was interesting for a horse who at times has run fast enough in his career to be competitive here for Jimmy Ferraro. In a field I wanted nobody, I'm going to go back to Lolita Shivmongal. Obviously, things didn't work out. Was wide against a gold rail last time. Very similar, actually, to Alpha Sunny, who was a bit wide in that race as well. So you go to the previous race, it's good enough to at least be close to competitive. And I was just looking for prices in a race where I don't like the 2 like you. And I have no problem with saying the 8 or 9 can win here, but I didn't want to take either one of them at relatively short prices. So I went to 2 bombs and races that I can make this much of a case for.
Yeah. And that's the way I saw this race. There's 2 first-time starters. I don't know. None of the pedigrees really jumped out at me. One for Michelle Giangiulio, the other for Rachel Sells. Exactly. That Kuoroki?
Yeah, whatever. You go for it.
No, I.
Listen, you're on the show. You get to pronounce it on the show
Sure.
in the post parade.
Sure.
I suggest the son of Frank Conversation would be. That's an old Jason Blewett thing. You can't pronounce the name. You say the son or daughter of so and so.
Exactly.
It's a good ploy, actually.
It does have a more of a dirt sprinting pedigree, but look, I'm not going to be surprised when anybody wins in this one.
I agree, so I'm going to go a little off the reservation. Race number 3. Probably the biggest scratch on today's card as far as shorter priced horses is
Yeah.
Peak of Chic coming out of this race, whether you liked or not.
I did. I scratched into it.
I don't trust Timely Conquest. We'll show the win up in Saratoga 3 back, but I'm not blaming Dylan for the thing last time, but especially with the 6 scratching now, but even before I was going to pick this horse on top, this horse is going to be forward today.
Has to be.
I'm just hoping if she's forward, she can run a race. She was bad last time. I mean, there's no arguing it. She runs her last race, she's not going to win this race. But when she was good, and I'm going to give her one final chance in here. I don't want Temperamental in here. The other thing I don't like about Temperamental is, Maggie, and I know you scratched into her, and obviously she can win. She was entered for 25 a couple of weeks ago. That kind of bothered me, the fact that she
Yeah.
was entered at a lower level a couple of weeks ago. I know she scratched, but she still was entered in that race.
Yeah, I just thought she was a little bit more trustworthy. She had a really comfortable trip last time and could never reel in Peak of Chic. I had this race with the 6 on top of her. Timely Conquest, she's one of those horses that I see in the paddock and she looks better than the rest of the field. And yet, and I know the 9 furlongs isn't
Yeah,
to
we
her
can
liking.
dismiss her race too
And
back, but
I
still, her last race
suppose
was
Dylan
bad.
should have gone last time, and he didn't.
Well, it was a
but
very quick
the
pace.
fell
No,
apart.
That wasn't Dylan's
Right.
fault.
Right. So I wanted her to run a little bit better than she did last time out.
She was bad. I don't disagree. The only other horse that has any form going back anywhere is Ruvy's in Time. But man,
That was a
it's been a
long time ago.
long time since she's run a good race. I guess you can't say it'll be shocking if she's effective, but I can't take her in here.
Nah.
Race number 4. I guess Face of Barrio is the logical. Well, Dave's got Devil's Key. It's a short price in here. I kind of misjudged this race. I thought they might go to Face of Barrio, go 2 back. On the other hand, with Face of Barrio, the problem is this horse was claimed away from Linda Rice, got that big effort that day. I don't trust this horse, though. I put him second.
And that was against a much easier field, I thought, 2 back. I mean, I know you blew him out, but
It was a terrible field. I don't disagree.
yeah. Maybe he was a little bit against the racetrack last time. You had it listed as being tilted a little towards the inside.
I think the rail was good. It's like no rider seemed to realize it, so it's almost harder to know
Right,
because
to
everybody stayed away from the rail,
identify.
but the horses
Yeah.
were on the rail, ran well. It was true on the 1st, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, yet everybody was staying away from it. It was
Yeah.
bizarre.
And he battled in between, so not directly on the rail by any means, but he really stopped at the quarter pole.
I
Just
agree.
had nothing left.
It's ex-Linda.
And how you gonna? I mean, how you get? You're going for Montebello, okay?
Well, we'll get to him in a minute.
Devil's Key is the one coming in with the best form, with the most trustworthy
I agree.
form, coming out of a better field in which we've seen several horses come back to run well, including, 10 Cent Town, who finished behind him off the Dutro claim, returned to win with a 93 bar. Alternate Reality came back to win. He was just facing a better field.
Agreed.
And he ran well enough that day, and the comment line said hung. Yeah, maybe he was out finished for 3rd, but he was never catching or getting to the top 2 finishers.
I thought he had a good trip in there. You're right. It's a strong race. Listen, to be honest with you, I hadn't thought he'd be that big a favorite, so I don't mind taking a shot against him. He's a very logical horse in here. I don't disagree with that. And I've taken a horse that is a bit of an all or nothing. And Montebello may not be able to run at all. And obviously, it was a bad purchase. And this was a horse that was purchased for a lot of money going back. But
And they paid a lot for him to begin with.
I think he was crazy expensive.
Crazy, like
before he went.
900,000 or
Yeah,
something.
I feel
Yeah.
like he was crazy expensive. He's an ex-Baffert, right?
Yeah.
He came in, he's a New York bred. It's always weird when Baffert has those expensive New York breds and he runs them out in California. And he's not the only one to do it. In this race, where he held off Price Discipline, it was a very short price near and came back a short price, he was able to wire the field. Listen, obviously his form has fallen completely apart and he's dropping down to a low level. And even though he's running an optional 45 last time, he wasn't even in for the tag. But going a mile and an eighth that day. I don't know if he can run anymore, but I'm not Devil's Key's biggest fan, the ones fan. I'm going to give him one chance as the stranger in here. Is he really going to be 3-1?
It's Rudy. I'm never surprised when his
Yeah.
horses get bet.
He's an all or nothing for me. It feels like if he wakes up and can run, he can win. Otherwise, he'll run last. I don't love him, but I didn't want anybody else in here. It just came down more to that.
All right.
Race number 5. We'll take a break after race number 5. There was a big scratch in here in a sense with Curlin's Wisdom coming out because I thought he was a little bit interesting.
Oh, so did I.
As an alternative to
Yeah.
leading contender. And we'll show leading contender. I know he doesn't have a lot of speed, but he's not that slow. And I don't know. Doesn't he just feel like he's better than these horses?
Well, that's the thing. I think he tripped out last time. I think he had
No
a
doubt he
great
did.
trip last time out. But still, he ran well. He ran fast. Suerte maybe having a little bit more of a taxing time of it, being involved in what resulted as a quick pace. But
what price would Suerte be here if he
everything-
ran in this race?
Exactly. Everybody in here isn't as good. Good skate. I don't know if you can fully trust him. He's a horse that watching his replays as of late, and you go back to Tubac when he was ease, he was ease when he hit the second turn. When he switched to his inside lead, he feels like a horse that doesn't really want to run on that inside lead. And that's going to get you in trouble after a while.
And he's not getting the lead from Optic Way
Way,
here,
that's
who
his
I don't
problem.
particularly like. And so, I mean, if you like good skate, your feeling is, well, he'll wire the field.
No.
He's not supposed to wire the field with
No,
Optic Way, and
because
then
Optic Way
Guerrero's got
has to go from the rail.
Yeah, he's just faster.
But he's cheaper. But, I mean, maybe good skate gets the jump. But you could say he gets the jump on leading contender. But at the end of the day, it just felt, I hate, taking a horse that's going to be this short a price. But
He's going to be 2 to 5 in here. I
Yeah.
mean, and I just can't make a case. And I considered really making a case for Curlin's Wisdom. He
So
was
did
the
I.
one that was a little bit
third off
interesting.
of a layoff, back out to 2 turns.
Yeah, it's a dry track, and I know
Tougher.
it's listed as muddy, but I imagine it must be harrowed. It's got to be harrowed, and it's sunny
One
out.
would think.
I'll bet you it's good, if not close to fast
Especially
by post
by
time
this
today.
race, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, we finally have some sun. This is the first time the sun's been out in over a week.
Correct.
Yeah.
I got back from Georgia on Thursday, and I was like, "Oh man, where are my sunglasses?" I have to drive with my
What was in
sunglasses.
Georgia?
Some owners.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Did you have fun? I didn't even know
Yeah,
you went to
had
Georgia.
fun.
All right.
Yeah.
Maggie's traveling a lot lately.
Just for the month of January. No,
Really?
home. Yeah.
That's it?
Then we go to New Orleans in February.
That's nice.
Yeah.
How long are you going
Family.
for?
A week.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tom has some horses there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Oh, we talked about that yesterday with
Yeah.
James Aloysius, who's my friend Robin's favorite horse. Anyway, more on that, but we'll take a break, and we'll be back with the second half of the card, the late pick 5.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
We're back discussing long trips. That was the last that was the last Grateful Dead I was discussing
Oh,
with Maggie.
really?
Where she was
So
talking
how many
about
years ago
driving
was
from
that?
It was 95. It was
Yeah.
not the last tour before Garcia died. It was when I went to Memphis, Birmingham, and then drove up to Lexington for the meet at Keeneland.
Which one was better, Memphis or Birmingham?
The Pyramid was cool. They played the Pyramid, which was fun, and we had so
Okay.
much fun in Memphis because we went
Yeah.
down to Beale Street. And
Yeah.
we went to Great. You been to Graceland?
No.
Some of you have been. Graceland's one of the great American experiences
I'd
possible.
love to go.
We also went, and they get over 1 million people go to Graceland a year to visit it. And I went with my friend Markley, and she knew you can make reservations for the tours. So we made reservations. This is before the internet. This is
Right.
mid-90s, and so we made reservations. We called up, made reservations, like a 1 o'clock tour or whatever. We get to Graceland, and the Dead are in town. It's a Saturday anyway. and there were over 5,000 people waiting in line, and we just walked right up the front because we had reservations, and we got right on and went there.
Clever.
So.
Right.
Still feel smart. It was the last smart thing I actually did. Actually, I didn't even do it. She did. Race number 6.
Credit.
Race number 6. Maggie and I obviously have the same idea in this race, and we'll take a
But
look
I think
at.
it's a fun race. I'm
Yeah, I
surprised you
agree.
came out with the same horse, but
Heavyweight Champs is the horse to beat in here.
yeah.
Still got to get 7 furlongs again. Rudy scratched this horse at 6, right? When this horse was scratched, I
Yep.
don't know if it was a vet scratch. I don't know what the story was. We're going to show the start because I do think it's important to show that Liberty Central lost all chance of the start, badly steadied out,
Well, he's a bad actor at the gate.
and the rail's not going to do him any favors.
Correct. I will say, though, I thought his last race, where he finished second again, was really a step in the right direction.
I
He
agree.
kind of broke more professionally. He finally switched leads. He seems like a big kind of doofusy horse, for lack of, but that has some talent.
It's the DQ race.
Yeah, it's the brutal
I
race.
just love showing the DQ race. It's so awesome how many times I get a chance to.
You have
re-show
got- you
this.
have-
I'm getting a lot of mileage out of this one, but every one of them's legit. It's not like I'm, rubbing it in. I will rub it in, but well, I think it's one of these calls you have to just keep bringing attention to. But anyway, Heavyweight Champs ran very well in here for a
Really
first-time
well.
starter. But I'm gonna ask you a question. How much better a field was that than some of these maiden races? It's not like it's a stake, but it's the Stallion Series, and I don't think these horses are
Right.
so much better necessarily than who they're running against today.
No, and we saw one that came out of that race that did not run well the other day. Name completely escaping me. I mean, Brick Ambush didn't run that well coming out of it, finishing a distant second.
He did increase his buyer figure 3 points, though.
Yeah,
that race came up
because the
fast.
New York Stallion Series, it was a slow race.
he did.
too.
Yeah, he didn't.
Okay.
I think he was
And I mean,
disappointing, but his
obviously,
figure backed
Big
up the race.
Torpedo ran well. The horse that I can't remember the horse that Antonio Venice came back and he was second, but he didn't run.
He
that
actually
badly.
ran well. I think he
ran
actually
really well,
ran.
because it was
He
beyond.
ran 10
his,
buyer points faster.
Yeah.
And the Muddy Track race. Okay. Sorority Prank, we're going to show the last race. I'm curious why you picked him, and then I'll see if there's anything
It's
I
a
should fill
fast
in.
race to begin with. We saw Doc Sullivan
Correct.
come back, run well. Allied Attack came back and won too. And it was a fairly quick pace. And with the blinkers on, he seemed to show that kind of new dimension. And furthermore, it's like he kind of gets to the horse on the lead, and then he sees Doc Sullivan, and he digs in a little bit more here. I don't know if I necessarily love him going the 7 furlongs, to be fair, but he feels like he could be the outside stalking speed to Heavyweight Champs. And I feel like it was just a big step forward with the blinkers on. Furthermore, he was a horse I liked from the beginning, and he kind of, I don't know what happened. He didn't like the turf, even though he's bred for it, on the bottom side. And time before that, he didn't run well. But I just really liked his last race.
I think he's also a horse, when you look at his PPs, your first inclination, and it could be true, is he's got one good race. But it's
first
his
race
last
was good.
race.
Yeah.
But then you start to take it apart and you go, well, that's not really true, because his first race was actually okay. He was
Yeah.
involved in a very contentious pace. He didn't run a great race, but he ran respectably in there.
I thought
Then they
so.
ran on the turf. I don't care what he did on the turf. It doesn't matter to me. That's
Yeah.
a different surface. So he's got the one bad race, 2 back. And then he ran well last time. So it does appear from his PPs the aberrational effort is his race 2 back.
Agreed.
And I thought his last race was good. Now, to be fair, Allied Attack ran 10-point buyer points better than his prior race. But his prior race, he had a big trip.
Yeah.
And then he got to a good rail in his next start, so he was supposed to run better. But Doc Sullivan did improve 17 points, and there is a chance it's a strong race. I thought he was an interesting alternative. Now, what about firsters here? Because you've got a Pletcher firster who has some pedigree. This horse after a couple of nice horses, including Associate. But there's 2 good horses, Associate
That's
and
gone
Amberjack.
back a while.
And there's 5 or 6 that just aren't any good.
And she's 21 now.
Yeah.
And those were her first 2 foals, I believe, Associate and Amberjack. Look, it's Todd. Are you going to be surprised when he jumps up and
Well,
wins
that's
with
the
a
thing.
firster?
It does feel like these Todd Firsters this time of the year, more often than not,
Perform.
they're fairly live.
Yeah.
And I don't think the horse is going to be some super short price. So it's not like you're looking at Todd Firster that's going to be 8 to 5, and you say, well, I don't want to bet this horse because it's getting bet just because of Todd. What about He Has It All, who they paid a ton of money for? I don't know about you. I thought the workout, the 21 and 5th 2-year-old workout was okay, but nothing exciting.
I really liked the way this horse moved. And
He wasn't
didn't,
ridden that hard in the workout, I didn't think.
oh, at first was. And then he jumps like a shadow, and so the rider pulls him up. It was after, the time for the quarter was completed, but obviously didn't have much of a gallop out for that reason. And I almost wonder, does he go for even more? Because he doesn't have much pedigree.
That's the thing. He paid a lot of money for this horse, given his pedigree, and he's showing very good works. For
Those are fast works,
Yep.
especially for Ray, because Ray's not a guy who, lays him down out there by any means. And a 46-1 on the training track out of the gates fast. The 59-4 on the track.
He is a massive wild card in here. And for people to look and say, oh, it's Katie Davis. First of all, Katie Davis is a fine rider, but beyond that, she's kind of Ray's go-to rider. So it's
And
not
two,
like
I'm
Ray's not using a rider he's very comfortable
I'm
with.
going to assume here as well
she's
that Joe
working.
Migliori probably had a lot to do with purchasing this horse, and he is Katie Davis's agent.
Make a great point.
I tried.
All right. A lot going on in race number 6. Race number 7. Race number 7. There are things about race number 7 that I have a tough time. Like, I can't take a horse like Ice Road, who I did put second. Wow, you've got Ice Road nowhere in here. No, that's fine. I'm not. This race 2 back, obviously the last race, a complete disaster, but
This race annoyed me.
not winning this day was one of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen because this was a lay down, couldn't lose field. And this horse, I mean,
Laid down.
he just, I just wonder if he wants to win. You don't have him in the top 4? No, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just wonder why. This was
And he
pathetic, this
had
loss.
trouble at the start last time. Sorry, I'm like
I know,
caught
but
up in my
he was
mic
awful.
here.
And he's not a winning type, but
Right. And it was arguably a better field, obviously. But like you said, he's not a winning type. I just thought there were maybe some more interesting horses in here to use.
Linda's entry.
Yeah, that's not
I
that
don't
interesting. I thought this race kind of lacked speed, and I thought that bargaining power could work out to be
You know, man, it being the speed now? My idiotic horse.
the one coming from Canada.
That horse is faster than these horses.
That's what I'm
Eric's just
saying.
supposed to let him
You're
roll.
braver than I am.
Well,
but I
I'm
have to use this horse.
I'm kind of married to this horse. He was entered in a softer spot, to be fair.
Yeah.
And on a day we canceled. And I picked him because I just looked and said, why would they even send this horse here? But the
Do you
reality
remember
is,
Yvonne Belsour had horses here several years? I'm going back 10, 12 years.
hasn't started a horse in like almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Obviously is taking care of the Bruno Schickendance horses that they ship down here, and they usually ship a few. The actual dirt race isn't really that bad in relative terms. A second start, obviously had some time to improve, has run races on synth that suggest the horse has improved since then, and improved enough to be competitive with these horses is the speed. And I just don't want anybody in this race. I don't have a problem bargaining power, but bargaining power is not very good. He is a reclaim for Linda, but a reclaim that she drops down right away.
Yeah, because I
win.
mean, she owns him. I just, Linda being aggressive. I get it. But because it's an entry, you're always going to get deflated kind of
hate the other
odds.
one.
And what?
I hate the other one.
So do
Deputy
I.
Connect.
I don't like W Connect. I don't like Opportunity Set. He
looks
not
dumb.
my type. Blue Plate Special, I thought, ran very well last
So
time.
his last race. I agree. He, based only on their last race, he's way the horse to
Horse
beat.
to beat, exactly. I mean, this By Your Spirit kind of sat a little bit off of it, but he
ran.
broke a step slow. He's kind of climbing from the kickback early, and he had to circle 4 to 5 wide around the turn and just put in this sustained rally. He was well beaten, but again, if he runs this race in this field, he likely wins.
I couldn't agree more. I'm not going to argue with any of that. He is the horse to beat in this race.
I mean, you have the drop down of 19 Oysters. I mean, where the heck did that first race ever come from? He kind of sniffed at it 2 back, but then there's been layoffs. First time for a tag, dropping all the way to the bottom.
Chad Summers' numbers, he's got a positive ROI because if you look at overall, first time for a tag, he's 3 for 34. But he's got a $74 horse and a $36 horse in there, so you have a big ROI. The $36 horse is in the ones on dirt where he's 2 for 22. But I agree. I mean, the first race I know was set up by a fast pace, but he ran a huge race. And you're right, he ran okay 2 back. But coming off the layoff, for a guy that thinks every horse he's going to run is probably good enough to win the Breeders' Cup, running this horse for 16 is a bad sign.
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, I just, once again, will I be shocked if that horse is effective here? No, I won't be. But I just want to take a horse that's a total fuzzy. And now with the scratch of the 2 becomes
I'm
the speed.
glad you make me more confident in using it, because I looked long and hard at Very Debonair.
it's just, I honestly, I liked him more the other day.
Yeah.
But maybe if I was right the other day, I can be right here at a better price. And I don't love this horse. I just don't want to pick anybody else in this race.
It's a yuck race.
So race number 8,
Get excited.
the Toboggan. I have a question for you about the Toboggan. As we'll show Kinetic Sky's
totally
race.
copped out in these 2 stake races, but
Well, Kinetic Sky's an hour and a half the horse to beat in here. Are you at all concerned? I don't mind when Rick runs them on a short rest, though I do like the irony that White Abarrio needs 17 years between starts and other horses in the barn need 10 minutes. But do you worry a little bit, because now he comes back in 34 days, so ostensibly 5 weeks, that there could be a deleterious effect from running on the short rest going forward with this horse?
yeah, and he tried to do it before with this horse off the short rest, and it completely blew up in his face.
Right.
So I'm like, so there is that bad race
And there was 2 months
in there.
off. There was 2 months off after that race.
Exactly. So
Then
maybe
again,
it's
he's running him
positive.
back, so obviously he feels he's doing well.
I thought about that too, Andy, and I thought he looked spectacular coming in to that September 21st effort off the 6 days, and he just ran horrible. It was a complete outlier from his Dutch row form. I think he ran incredibly well in the Queens County at a distance where I don't think he is nearly
Even
as
near
good
his
at.
best, I agree.
So
I think 7's perfect for him personally.
7 is perfect. So I like I said, that scares me a little bit. But the fact that he is coming back off the good effort.
And the short rest, that worries me a little bit. Super Chow, I'll tell you one thing about Super Chow. He's got to get 7 furlongs, but you look at his 7 furlong races, and they're 2 of his better races, frankly. And
I'm not too concerned about the 7 furlongs. I'm concerned about the fact that he was beaten at 1-2 last time.
But he didn't make the lead.
He didn't make the
And
lead.
he's going to be clear today, unless he falls coming out of the gate. He's going to be clear of this field.
Okay, he was getting out around the turn. He does level off nicely here, so he kicks it back into gear. I like to see that.
He's not being hurted. He's getting out.
Exactly. He's getting out.
He's getting out. He's not being hurted at all.
But the horse that beat him, albeit it was a synthetic, so maybe it's a toss, but came back to run deplorably in
The
his
4th
next
horse
start.
came back and ran well, for what it's worth. But
Okay, now he was scratched out of the a optional allowance, I think, at Gulfstream, or maybe it was a stake. I
Super
can't
Chow
remember.
was?
Yeah. Then he was entered in the fire plug at Laurel last week. Was it last week? 2 weeks ago. That race was canceled. And so now this is plan C for him. And
Interesting.
arguably, it's not a field of superstars by any means, but
Not
this
bad.
is his first start against some gritty older veterans.
And his 96 buyer last time is far and away the best fig he's ever run. There are a plethora of horses in this race that are 90 buyer type horses that are just better than him overall.
Exactly.
All he is the controlling speed,
Right.
which might be good enough, but I'm not really
Not going
sold.
7, not against this field, in my opinion.
What's your Manny Wah story?
I just like I like him as a horse. I just am a little
got
bit of a
races that are
fan.
fast enough.
I thought he ran well enough last time on the synthetic, and argue, he is probably a better dirt horse at the end of the day. I like the job that Will Walden does. He seems to bring live types of horses to Naira, so I have love for Manny Wah.
His Breeders' Cup Sprint a year and a half ago or a year plus ago was
Very
very,
good.
very good. He'd win with that. Okay, as far as Murray, first of all, I like
Yeah,
I like the name. I mean, how can you resist?
I
a horse
love
named
Murray too. One of our best owners that we've had, Robert Murray.
Really? Well, I'm big on
Was.
Murray. What do I think about this horse? I don't think he wants to go a mile. He's an improved horse. I think his figures are close enough to be a contender. If I feel like Kinetic Sky is a little bit questionable, and I no argument with you, he is way the horse to beat in this race, but I feel like he could be very much in line to be the second best horse in here. I like cutting back a furlong with him. Brittany Russell thinks to ship up in here. I'll take a shot with this horse, that he's an improving horse that's getting back to a better distance in the mile last time, and he has run well before.
Wasn't he? I mean, I know you don't like him at the mile, but
Should he have won
beaten
last
by
time?
a 30-1
I know,
shot.
that bothers me a little. 35-1, just 34-1 or something and change. That bothers me a little bit. No question about it. But I still think he ran well enough. I don't love him in here. To be honest with you, I don't trust the 5 overall, and I wanted to pick something against the 7. Maybe you're right with Manny Wah. Maybe I missed it with him. I think David likes him too, and I obviously respect David Aragona's opinion. I just went to him thinking he might be a horse shipping.
I mean,
up
he
that
was
could be
like
better than
just
7.
Manny was he lacks speed, which is a concern per usual.
Except if you don't like the 5 here, then you're not that as worried about it, because if the 5 comes apart, the race has a chance to come apart.
Exactly.
Race number 9, the Withers. You and I copped out to the favorite in this
And,
race.
you know,
lately.
I approach this race, Andy, as I always do with these early 3-year-old races, going the 9 furlongs, who looks like they want to go, you know, I specify who looks like they want to go the 9 furlongs based upon appearances, based upon the replays. And that's all I did in this race, basically.
I thought Lightline ran. I hate his name, by the way. Hate his name.
Yet my phone tried to correct me when I put in Lightline into Equibase. It was like, no, Flightline. I'm like, no, Lightline.
My phone actually threw up when I put his name in.
Gave you the sick emoji.
You know, this is an impressive, extended 4 to 5 wide
Correct.
run from the back of the pack. And, you know, watching the start, I don't know what you thought.
He kinda
Why was he so far?
half-reared.
Right. He broke a little bit slow.
And then he just took him back.
And I
He
feel
took him
like
into-
they didn't pinch him, but there was enough coming in
Right, where
that maybe
Florent-
just intimidated him. It was
Flavian,
Flavian, right? Yeah.
Flavian just kind of was like, you know what? I'm just going to take him back.
And I don't love Carbone. I'm not going to bet him in today's Southwest, but he is going to be, if not the favorite, close to the favorite, probably the favorite now in there. And I thought his race was respectable.
I think he did the most running last time out, too.
And horses out of that race have come back. A 4th horse +9, 6th horse
Sandy.
+7. I don't know. I thought it was a live race, and I just think he's better than these horses.
I do, too. And he gives the impression that he wants this distance, where
Agreed.
I can't necessarily say that about the second choice in here, El Grandeo, who I respect, who is, I think, an overachiever, but I just think
I
maybe
don't think he
little
wants
less
a mile
ground
and an
space.
eighth. I know he's the main speed
Yeah.
in here, but I don't think he wants to get a mile and an eighth. We'll take a look at the Jerome, where he ran 2nd, Canati ran 3rd. I'll be honest with you. I know that he's on the shelf, and I'm sorry about that. Drum roll, please.
Yeah.
I'm not even in love with drum roll, please.
It's a pretty slow race.
I don't think this was that good a race, and I
It
like El
wasn't?
Grandeo. To me, he's the favorite right now for the Mike Lee, which we're running those races on the Sunday after the Belmont in Saratoga. That's the New York Plate
yeah,
Showcase
fun.
Day, which is actually
Okay.
cool. I respect Linda for giving him one more chance, but I don't think this horse is ultimately a horse that wants to go long.
Yeah, this feels like the, who was the gray horse last year that she
He
put
hasn't
on the
come back.
Broman horse?
Artemis something.
I can't think of his name.
Yeah, I
But I
can't
feel
either.
like this is the
Someone will text me.
2024 version of
I agree. I say
him.
one thing. This horse is fast. That horse has not come back at all, has he?
No,
Yeah, I don't really love him
After
in
the
here.
wood.
And, you look at other horses in here. Seminole Chief for Jack Sisterson. Okay, he improved last time, mile and a 16th. He beat that heavy favorite. The heavy favorite was 3rd in there. I don't know. Do we really have a lot of confidence this guy's really going to love a mile and an eighth? And he's not going to be in a position where he's going to be on the pace, I don't think.
I just don't think he's that good.
Yeah, I didn't either.
And he's finishing here on his left lead. He was 12-1 that day in a field of Florida breds. I respect Jack, and look, Jack has had all of his big wins and his greatest stakes here in New York, so it does feel like he brings the right horses up here, but Seminole Chief will do it without me. Mission Beach, I think, is a total sprinter, despite being a son of Curlin. In my notes,
agree with you.
one time I saw him at Saratoga, I wrote, don't think he gets better with more ground, going the 7/8 in the hopeful that day. Kanate, I don't think he gets better with more ground.
Uncle Heavy scares me. We'll show his last
There
race.
you
Go ahead.
Well done. I wrote, should like longer.
It's
Just
Arctic,
watch it.
it's Arctic Arrogance, by the way, Sarah's.
Arctic Arrogance. Thank you.
I thought he ran well in here.
Really well, right?
And I'm
he's
sorry.
wide throughout, and then he goes down to the rail. Okay,
The
fine,
horse is
because that horse
drifting,
drifts out.
but he's drifting in too, because he'll
does
drift
drift
in right towards the rail.
But
The other
look,
horse
he
comes
just
over too.
just watch it. He's like da 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 da. He's just that kind of not
Butch
plodding,
Reed's
but
horses show up.
galloping type, where he's going to appreciate this type of distance configuration. Like you said, I respect Butch with anything that he brings here.
He is one of the few trainers that consistently comes to New York and his horses are live. And they're not live at 4 to 5 shots. They're
Yeah.
live horses that are 3rd, 4th choices, and they run. I think Speed Runner's dangerous for Todd.
I
off
think
the
Todd
maiden win.
is generally dangerous. I just don't like him as a horse, but
I don't love
I'm
this
gonna,
horse either. I don't love the race he's coming out
Right.
of, but
I put the Maiden Society Man because I think, Speed Runner was kind of with the track, with the flow of that race, whereas Society Man was against it, and he still looked green as he was coming in off a bit of a layoff that day. And I think he's a horse that does truly kind of want this distance.
You and David can have him. David likes him too. I don't like this horse. Maybe I'm wrong. He's only run twice. He could improve, but I don't know. Wasn't he entered in the mile race that was canceled?
I don't
He was in
know.
the
You
mile
remember
maiden
these
race.
things
He was in the
better.
mile maiden race that was canceled. They brought
Okay.
it back and they decided to run here. Race number 10. I'm looking forward to the Withers. Should be a fun race.
Yeah.
And I think there's some horses in there that can run a little bit. I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure that the Withers winner is going to be any worse, the Winners 1-2, than the horses in the Southwest.
Oh, great.
I don't think I think it's a fun race, but I don't
Yeah.
think there are any killers in that race.
Yeah.
We topped out with the same horse in this race, Love Like Crazy. I don't know. Linda
First race is
Racehorse
good enough.
gets a dry dirt track for the first time. It's Linda with race on the belt,
Well,
gets
we hope
Lasix.
it's going to be dry.
Yeah, it will be.
Okay.
It will be.
Okay.
I bet you it's harrowed. If it's harrowed, nobody's texted me, then it'll definitely be dry or closer to dry. It's not. I'll put it this way: I can't believe it's going to be sealed.
No.
So,
Yeah.
and I got a goofy horse near the horse that you have fourth,
Okay.
Zen Lu.
They're not that goofy. It's a lone drop down.
Yeah, but these connections. Oh, he's got a 9-2.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, David loves Ralph D'Alessandro, so he took
He
a point and a
does.
half.
He does have a
He
secret, like,
he is Ralph
obsession
D'Alessandro's
with
biggest
Ralph.
fan. I think we should get him like a little statue.
It's okay. I have,
Speaking.
speaking of Finger Lakes trainer, I have a thing for Paul Barrow.
Yeah, I know you do.
So-
Like him, but not your love for him is not as big as David's for Ralph. Ralph won a couple races 2 or 3 years ago, and David has been on him ever since. He's waiting for another Ralph D'Alessandro burst.
Well, isn't Mamba Gigi a little interesting on pedigree? As a first-time starter in a kind of
Well, is a
nondescript
half
field?
to Tribeca is a lot
Full.
of speed.
Full to Tribeca.
Tribeca, and then 3 horses that couldn't outrun you and I,
Yeah,
but he is a
but-
Bustin' Stones.
Yeah. And they just seem to, I mean, look at the winner in the last race yesterday.
You know, once I saw that horse was getting bet, I knew he was live. Unfortunately, neither of my horses did any running, so I couldn't hit the exact. All I did was run second to him. They hit it, but they weren't close.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was one that I would hit the pick 3 if I had seen that, you know, if he was not the third leg, because that horse was very, very live in there. No, listen, I'm not going to be surprised. What's it going to take to win this race? A 49 buyer?
Correct.
So I wouldn't discount any first-time star, and Pat's horses have been pretty live, so
Yeah.
no argument there.
Resume could be the one to catch in here, which might make her a little bit
I
tough.
agree. I scratched into for
fourth.
the 10 is scratch, guys. My picks are 11,
Perfect.
2, 7, 12. 10 is scratch, right? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
I know she's
11, 2,
scratch.
7, 12. Yeah, you know, right. So, yeah, I got that horse in well as the speed, but I don't know. You know, it was a dead rail, but this horse was not near the rail.
No, but it was a pace that came apart.
I don't
You're talking about
disagree.
Resume.
Not
A
impossible.
really strung out field early on, and then just incineration.
We're done. You got a busy day ahead of you.
I do.
Going
Gotta go.
upstairs. Maggie's got to go. We got to go. You got to go to Naira Bets. Head over to Naira Bets. No better time than the present. Use the promo code match 200. SPA 200. We'll be there soon. We'll be there in 4 weeks, 4 months.
Birthday up there?
Well, my birthday's the Tuesday after the Belmont, so I'm going to stick
So you're
around to
gonna
have it
stay.
with my mom.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah. Staying with mom.
Good.
actually.
Good. Good
Yeah,
for
we're
you.
looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm going to see her. Try to go see mom every 6-7 weeks. I get up to visit
That's
her.
perfect.
Anyway, middle pick 4 in race number 4, 2, 4, and 7 for the pick 4s. We have $40 Derby prep bonus, $20 on everyone, and I guess that's here. Southwest, Robert Lewis. You can check it out, Naira Bets. I imagine Robert Lewis, and of course the Holy Bull. Maggie and I like horse the Holy Bull, so I figured it out. You can get 320s there, 220, big value. Cross country pick 5. 2 at Aqueduct, 2 at Oaklawn, 1 at Tampa. All stakes, fun stuff, including the turf race. Acacia's down at Tampa. I don't think it's freezing. It's normally freezing cold when she goes to Tampa. I don't think it's as cold as normal.
Well,
warmer than here.
I'm happy for her.
Yeah. Oh, well, she was there that day last year. It was like 50 degrees out.
Freezing,
Right.
yeah.
50 in Florida is like 10 here.
Yeah, because you get so used to it being warm.
It's awful. Yes.
Yeah.
It's bad. And we have the show 12:30 until. Of course, it's raining in Hot Springs. They can't get
Hey,
a break.
I'll
They
take it. The
can't
sun's
get a break.
shining here. We haven't
gonna be-
seen it in 10 days around here. So
70s at Tampa. Anyway, 12:30 to 6:30. All the action on FS2. Maggie, thanks again. And we're heading up to Chris Griffin with a reprise, Scratch and Changes. Have a great day. The Big A.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.